If you don't mind, tell us a little bit about like, I know this, but like, where was your entry point to like starting a business? And then can you take us to when you actually got like online?
Oh man, that's a good question. So it my very first business was in high school. I would basically create graduation invitations for people who could not afford professional graduation invitations. And so I don't know if y'all remember, there was a company that would come to the schools called Jostens, and they would do like a presentation, and they'd be like, you can get this yearbook, you can get this and this and this, and like all, I don't even know if they're still around. They might still be here. I don't know. But at that time, I grew up in Memphis, from Melrose, and so there was a portion of the students who couldn't afford the graduation invitations. So I basically learned how to use the computer, which was Microsoft Publisher at the time. And the cool thing about Publisher, it was easy. It came with like little templates. You put your information in there, and then kapoosh, out the printer, you got graduation invitation. So we would go to like Office Depot and like get graduation paper and all of that stuff. And that was the first time I started to make money from what I knew how to do, right? But at the time, I didn't know what it was. It was just like, y'all need graduation invitations. I know how to do it. Let me hook y'all up, right? And I would charge them like way less. I would charge them like $15, $20, something real cheap, inexpensive. I don't even think I was making a profit because the paper was already high as hell. So I don't even know if I was
Getting
really making
ink.
a profit. So I ended up printing off the graduation invitation. That was cool, right? So getting out of school, at the time I had a boyfriend, and I didn't necessarily want to go to college, but he was going to college, and you know how we are. We like, oh, I want to follow along. I'm like, you going to college? All right, I'll go to college. Like I legit didn't have no dreams out of high school, nor did I have someone in my family that was like, you got to go to school, or you got to go to college, or you got to, like, I didn't have that. Like it was like, if you made it out of high school, you was lit. You know what I mean? So once I graduated from high school, I ended up going to a school called ITT Tech. And after going to ITT Tech, I was learning how to do technical stuff with the computer, and it was all right. But at that same time, I had a job. I was basically like a cashier at Kroger. Um, then I eventually started working at Best Buy, and then I was also a cargo handler at FedEx. So I had a lot of little hustles and business, and not business, but like, just working, because I was really trying to find myself. I was going to college for something I really didn't want to go to school for. I was working a job because that's what I was taught. And one day I ended up going to a photo shoot with a friend, and she was getting some photos taken. And this was when I was like a flight attendant at this time. And I remember going to the photo studio with her and seeing her get pictures taken of herself. And the photographer was just like, it was real laid back. She was getting dressed up and cute. It was for an album cover. And I was thinking to myself, like, are you about to pay, bro, to take pictures of you? Like I was just blown away. Like it was crazy, because at school I used to take pictures, right? Like I used to have the little disposable cameras, but I never saw it as a viable hustle or a business. It was just like, I just like taking pictures. You want to take pictures? My mom worked in the at Kroger. They used to have film development center. So, I could take a disposable camera, take pictures at school, give it to my mama. She would develop the stuff, and then I could take it, right? But at that time, I didn't know that like that could be a dream or a hustle or a business, right? So I was like, okay, whatever. So I ended up um being at this photo shoot, and I realized at that moment that this might be something I'm interested in. And we all have that pivotal moment. We remember that we all have that moment where we see something and we like, oh, I want to see how that goes, right? So anyway, I ended up at this photo shoot, and after the photo shoot, I pulled bro to the side and I was like, hey, can you teach me how to take pictures? Bro looked at me with a straight face and was like, nah. Nah, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna lie, my little feelings was crushed. You know what I'm saying? My little feelings was crushed. So anyway, I ended up having like a friend at the time. He was like a photo. You know how you have those guys that take pictures in your local town, and they like always at the club. They always, they the picture man. You know what I'm saying? They taking photos. They'll come to your house. They'll take pictures of you in the neighborhood. Like he was that guy. So he was making hella bank. So I remember him having a Nikon, and I was like, "Hey, can I borrow it?" He was like, "All right, you can borrow it." He didn't really care, right? I didn't know how to take pictures. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, can you teach me how to take pictures?" He was like, "Bro, just turn it on auto." Now you and I both know Otto will only take you so far because you're a professional photographer as well. So Otto will only take you so far. So I'm taking the pictures and I'm just like, taking the pictures and I'm just like, man, this is legit. And then I realized that I didn't want to be a photographer. I want to be a professional photographer. So this is when I started like reading, professional blogs and start reading books around photography. I started watching videos on YouTube on how to edit and how to properly position the camera. And I started to learn about lens, and I started to learn about depth and width and background and like all of these different things. And so anyway, just speed up the story. So I ended up taking pictures. And I started getting into that industry. So I was working, being a flight attendant and running a photography business. And then right before I ended up quitting becoming a flight attendant the first time, because I quit twice in my career. So when I quit the first time, I basically was like, I'm gonna start this photography business. This business is gonna be legit. And I started the photography business. So after I started the photography business, it started to do really well, right? And well enough in my books was like I could pay my bills. But then when I quit my job, that money didn't sound like a lot because I needed more than enough to just have extra money on the side. Now I got this money, got to pay car note, insurance, it got to pay rent, it got to pay all the things. So I grossly underestimated what it costs to quit. I grossly underestimated what it costs to quit. So I was just like, all right, cool, whatever. So I ended up getting a photography studio in Memphis and started taking pictures. I was starting to get known. And during that time, I acquired the skill of graphic design. So I started doing that on the side. During that time, I wanted my professional photography work to be published. So I published a magazine called Love New Art. And then during that time, breakups, crazy people, I went back and got a job because it wasn't working, and I quit the job again. And then it all kind of fast forwarded to me taking a position at a mega church in Memphis, becoming a marketing manager. And during that time, when I became a marketing manager, I got the job from my experience because I did not go to school for marketing or any of that. I became a marketing manager because all of that stuff that I was doing in my business now had leverage. Like, oh, she took pictures before. She know how to do graphic design. She has hosted several events. So all of that experience allowed me to get a job that was really degree required. So my experience allowed me to get through the door. Got the job, did not like it, did not stay long. But during this time, I had so many ups and downs as an entrepreneur. And the common denominator was I had these dope ideas, but was broke. I would have these dope businesses and then I would be broke. And then eventually I was just like, you know what? I'm tired of being broke. I'm tired of like not knowing how to take care of myself without working for someone. And I became very addicted to wanting to learn marketing. So I started reading marketing books. I started taking marketing courses. I started joining like online communities to really understand this thing that I did not know that was foreign to me. And once I started to apply the marketing stuff that I was learning to my business, that's when I started making money. That's when I started making real money. And during that time, I decided to brand myself, develop my personal brand. And during that time, as I began to develop my personal brand, that allowed me the opportunity to be able to get known beyond just the photographer, beyond the graphic designer, beyond the girl who published this magazine. I was Audria Richmond, right? And this was kind of like a rebranding, repositioning, repivoting moment for me because as I was transitioning into Audria Richmond, a lot of people back home didn't see me in that light. They still saw me as the photographer, the graphic designer, the little goofy girl from school. And the new people online saw me as that girl, like, oh, she can help me brand my business, she can help me do my thing. And so it was weird because back home folks was like, ah, you a joke. And then the new people was like, damn, she legit. So it was kind of like the new people online was able to respect my pivot. And during that time, that's when I began to like really go hard and brand myself and so on and so forth. And so here we are, right? That's kind of like, I tried to make it short, but I also want to give you the background.
No, that's so good. So I heard you say a lot of things, but the thing that stood out to me the most is that you really hone your craft around marketing, which I see a lot of business owners just jump in. They real concerned about that logo. They super concerned about the website.
Yes.
They super concerned about having everything, but they miss the whole thing around marketing. And
Right.
then I heard you say your personal brand.
Yes.
I cannot tell you, and you may have seen this thing too, but I see people who say, I don't want to be the face of my brand. And you've literally flipped that idea upside down. So I love that. And then you said one other thing that just was like, bam, you're like, people at home didn't get it. They didn't respect the pivot. And I always talk to people about when you show up online like you have the capacity to bring in clients from all over the world. So it's like, if you want people outside of your zip code, basically what you're saying is you need to market, you need to make sure that you brand yourself. You just have to show up. Right.
Yes. You brought up a good point. I want to speak to like me not knowing that I was limited by my zip code. During that time, I didn't even know that was a thing. I just knew that once I got to a certain point in my local business would just drizzle off. And that was because I was only marketing within my zip code. I didn't even know you can market to other people in other places of the world. I didn't even know I could have international clients. So once I started to get people to know about me from all over the world, that was a mental shift for me. Even though I was a flight attendant and I was traveling, I never put the two together. So that was a huge pivotal moment for me too, to know that I can make money outside of my zip code.
Wow. So let's talk about your first book. Like, what prompted you to create your first book, and tell us like a little bit about it, because I think it really goes into this whole notion of like branding, standing out, being different. Like, it's so many things that I hear online, and this is one of the things that attracted me to you is like, we reject that. Like, we are anti put me in the box.
Yes.
So talk about your first book, which, guys, by the way, this is Audria Richmond. I'm Romonica Plachette. I'm the host of this. We have some items in the carousel. These are her products. So we are actually talking about the first book launch right now. So you'll see that in the carousel. Make sure that you go ahead and add that book, all of these books with the S, to your cart.
Yes. So the book you're talking about right now is Are You Ready for the Yes? And so, like she said, if you sit in a carousel on Amazon, just go ahead and grab it. So Are You Ready for the Yes was written pre-Uncloned, okay, before the Uncloned brand started. And when I wrote Are You Ready for the Yes, I would get so many people who would come to me and be like, I want to go get a speaking gig, but no one is taking me seriously. Or I want to start selling products and services, but I don't know what to sell. Or people would get so pissed off about not getting the clients they want, but at the end of the day, nobody knew who they were. Or they would get these opportunities of a lifetime and couldn't say yes to it because they didn't have a website. They didn't have a brand, and it was very hard for people to take them seriously. And so because of that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to teach what has gotten me thus far, based on my success and based on the success of people that I know and celebrities. And basically, we develop a 7-phase framework that teaches people that, like, hey, if you want to be successful, if you want to be known at the top of your industry and known as that go-to person, you're going to have to develop a personal brand, period. Right. And basically, I studied all of the people. I studied all of the top celebrities, all the top influencers, and they all had 7 things in common. I'm not going to go over it because that's what you need the book for. But after studying those things and me doing those things, I was able to really take my brand to the next level.
And boom, just like that. Like, I remember, and this is so true, the framework and everything about it. Like, I remember coming into community with you when you launched that, and thinking like, oh my God, this is what I have been looking for. Because when you are an online brand and you know who you are and you know it's something different about you. See, most people like apologize for their difference.
Yes.
I don't. And that's what I found in the Uncloned community is that, no, we don't apologize for it. Like, we embrace it. We gaslight it. Okay. And we go real hard in the paint on it. And I just remember, one of the things you shared with me, and this will set somebody free, because I talk to a lot of women about, being bold, being confident, so that, they can use video to launch their brand and put their products and services out in the marketplace. But I remember you saying, I tell this story all the time, so I gotta tell it with you. When I first came into community and we started talking, I remember you saying, "Oh man, you so lit, you live, you upbeat." And I was like, "Y'all always been like this." She's like, "Girl, no, you show up online boring as hell." And I was like,
Yeah, because like the version I was getting was like lit, like me. And then the version online was real polished. I mean, we could have just threw some pearls on you and gave you a collar, so
that was that corporate thing. And I
yeah.
think, and I always like to talk to people about it, because when you go from being in a corporate space, you have to put on the corporate hat and really
Yeah.
march to the beat of the corporate culture. But when you show up online, I know for me personally, it was trying to figure out, who am I post 20-year being in corporate? And
Right.
that was the thing. It was like, when you show up in front of an audience, I had been taught you have to be very professional. You have to show up just like this.
Yes.
And
Yes.
online, it's like, no, I can be me. Recently, someone reached out, and because I did one of those little TikTok memes, and it's like, I heard you bees were looking for me. B, here I go. It was the music. I was turned. I
Right.
was lit. I literally got a text that says, "What in the world? What kind of branding is that? People, you're not going to attract high-end clients like that." And I was like, whoa.
You see my face? Who?
I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
if they don't like that, that's cool. That means they are not for me, because anybody that knows me would already know I do video. This is TikTok. This is fun.
Yes.
This is just what it is. So I have learned to really be unapologetic about how I market, how I show up. And I'm going to be brutally honest. Hopefully, this will set somebody free who's watching. It just starts with you saying, "Hey, I'm not in corporate anymore. This is me. This is what I want to talk about. This is the person that I am. This is the person that I'm evolving to be." And so really it becomes, you're on the journey with me, or let me slow the bus down so you can jump off, because I'm going to keep moving.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the thing that most people haven't really leaned into yet. So are you ready for the yes? Boom, jump on that. But can we like kind of fast forward just a little bit
Yes.
into like Uncloned? Because I
Yes.
remember, and shout out to Kim, I think she's watching, like we
Yes.
literally remember when was born.
Right.
Okay. So can you tell them about
Yeah.
Can you tell
Yeah.
them about Uncloned? And then we're gonna get into something that I've seen a lot of people talk about online, and it hit me this morning. I was like, "Ooh, we got to talk about this." So tell us about
Yes. Yes. So Unclone is all about challenging the norms and being the first to do it first. Initially, Unclone, basically, I was on a live stream one day. Kim is here, and she was like, "Girl, you so Unclone," and it clicked, and I was like, "That's it, that's it." Because prior to that, I was building big brands. Okay, if you go and Google building big brands, you will see it, right? And I thought it was so cool because it was just like, whoa, like that's it. Like I could never think of anything to ever describe myself. And when she said that in there, I took it and ran with it. And then we started to use it as a hashtag. So I'll be like, I would just say little different things online. We'd be like hashtag unclone. And people would start to pick up on and be like, oh, well, I'm uncloned too. And it evolved from a hashtag to it being a book, right? Because when you say I'm this or that, you have to give it meaning. So in our case, we wrote the second book, which is Uncloned Life. And it talked about the things that you need to unlearn and who you need to become in order to be uncloned. And so as a result of us starting this movement, because that's what it initially was, a movement, it was a way of being. Then we deepened it by telling people like, well, here is an actual rule book, right? On how is actually unrules, things you need to unlearn so you can become. And as a result of creating that, that's when Uncloned was born. So Uncloned pretty much launched in July of 2017. We recently just got we recently just got Uncloned Day in Georgia, which is pretty cool. And we now have Uncloned as a registered trademark. We have Uncloned Life as a registered trademark. We have Uncloned Marketing as a registered trademark. But Uncloned pretty much started as a hashtag. It started off us talking about it online. And then over time, people started to become uncloned and really have a movement that they could be around and something that they could borrow and be a part of. And it has definitely morphed into a whole big thing. So I talk about how it came about in this book. I shout out Kim in the book, and I talk about how that day on Periscope changed the game.
Speaking of changing the game, the whole movement, the t-shirts, the everything. I can't believe it's been 2017, but it was, because what popped up when you said that was, I remember at the time my daughter was in high school. She had just started playing basketball. For real, she was not good. I'm not gonna even lie, she wasn't good. And it was like a whole train wreck watching her play that summer. Mm-hmm. But by the time fall hit, and I remember getting her a t-shirt, an Uncloned t-shirt. I had one. We had the book, the bumper sticker. We had it all. Okay. She still wears it. She had it on like the other day. But it was something about me talking about that experience and sharing it with her. She just threw herself into the game. And really, prior to her injury, she had turned into like a little bit of a beast. Like she went from to like, because as a parent, you sit in the stand, you're like, ooh, she's struggling. Oh. Probably like how a coach watches, their clients be online not doing what you told them to do. You're like, why they do that?
Right. I told you to tell them to click the link. Yeah.
But you like just being around me and talking about the book, and I gave it to her to read. It was a game changer. A lot of times people don't execute and do the things that they're supposed to do because they get stuck right here. I have done it before. I'm sure it's happening to you.
Let me also say this. It never goes away.
Right.
It happens at every level. I don't care what nobody say. So all of these gurus who claim they got the strongest mental toughness on the planet, there's always another level to achieve with your mindset. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I made a long post last night because I was riding my bike, riding the Peloton, and I did the 30-minute with AT Alex Toussaint, and literally, man, let me tell you, probably about halfway through, I was going to turn it off. I mean, I was about to throw stuff at the TV. I was like, hey, I ain't built for this tonight. Let me just stop. And literally, I heard something in my head that somehow we both done some stuff with Shamika before, but I heard her challenge me in my head. I literally heard her say, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And at that moment, I was like, see, if you quit on this right now, you gonna quit on some other stuff. So it was like, no, maybe I'm not gonna be able to pedal as fast as I want to in this moment, but I'm determined to keep going and press through. And in that moment, like after I kept going another 5 minutes into the ride, I'm like, boom, I got this. And then you get to the end, you're like, yes. That's how business, life, and everything is. You're going to have some challenges, some struggles, some things along the way. Not that you want to call it onto yourself, but it just is what it is going to happen. The way that you win, though, is just by being determined that you're not going to give up and that you're going to keep going. So I want to talk to you real quick about something, because I've seen this on like social. I know Billie Jean has done it. I've seen a couple other people do this type of thing, and it hit me this morning. So
I think I know what you're finna say. Go ahead.
Okay, if you lost it all and you had to start over, kind of like, what would you do? Yeah. So I have some, if you lost it all and had to start over, not even lost it all, let's just say if you had to start over, okay?
Yeah.
So if you had to start over, I want to know kind of what you would do, who you would target, who you would market, what's your product, platform. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Man, I feel like I'm transitioning into that now, right?
Okay.
I feel like every year I hibernate and then I come back out and I'm like re-evolving, right? So I kind of do that anyway, like all the time. I just don't make no announcement about it, but that's a whole nother story. But I like to, I would archive my brain sooner. What I mean by that, I would make more products, right? I would make more products because I feel like I wasted so much time trying to prove myself to someone. I tried to prove myself to me. I tried to prove myself to my clients. I tried to prove myself to my mentors, my peers, and I realized trying to prove something don't mean nothing, right? Trying to prove something doesn't mean anything. And because of that, I realized that most people don't have the capacity for me. And so I'm learning that if I could have took my capacity, well, I'm doing it now, but if I could take my brain and where I'm at right now and archive it into a product, whether it be a course, a book, a workbook, a worksheet, or whatever, then I wouldn't be as frustrated at the level that people are at right now.
Where's the collection plates? I'm gonna send my tithes and offering in later this afternoon. Hey, that's a whole freaking word right there. So, ooh, all right. So, dang, that was so good. Okay, like that got my heart racing. That in the coffee, I'm like, because I'm team digital product. But can we talk about? I hear some people in the comments. Shout out to the people who have like jumped on. Thank y'all for joining us. I'm Romonica Plachette. I'm the host. This is Audria Richmond. You're seeing her books in the carousel, so make sure that you're adding those in. We definitely want to support her and show her love for coming on and sharing her wisdom and knowledge and expertise with us this morning, afternoon, depending on where you are, since I had to keep up with the time zone this morning.
Yes.
But anyway, all right, so here is my question. Can we talk about, because I love a good old digital product, but here's something I hear a lot about: high ticket, low ticket offers. There seems to be a great debate around high ticket versus low ticket.
You know what I tell people? Have both. Get out of here. I'm so sick of these. Can we talk about this?
Can we talk about it? What you saying? About this?
Because there's people who are like, has evolved, and they're just high ticket everything, high ticket life, high ticket trips, high ticket resorts, high ticket products, high ticket experiences, high ticket hairlines, high ticket everything, right? And that's cool. But what happened, you weren't always there. And I think that when people come into your world, when they come into your ecosystem, for some reason, you forgot you used to be there, right? And you also forgot, and this is why it was important for me to do my shop and to have my products at these price points, is because we have to realize that your day 10,000 is somebody's day one. And so you need to stop essing on people because you have quote unquote arrived, or talking down or beneath people, instead of meeting where they are, having grace for them and allowing them to evolve in your teachings and in your work. Right. So that's where I believe you should have the best of the both worlds. My online shop did we did multiple six figures last year selling low ticket stuff. So I don't really care what people say at this point. And I think that's what the whole Uncloned brand is about. It's about you doing you. It's about you positioning yourself in a way that's conducive to your community and the people you serve. And you don't have to S on people on your way to the bank.
Oh, hello, somebody. Like, hold on. Let me give a round of applause. So I'm probably some high ticket coach's worst nightmare, because that's one of those things I've always challenged them about, is because this is what they don't tell you. So I'm like you. I believe in having both. I'm going to tell you, mid to low ticket offers feel really good to me. And I'm going to tell you why. Because like you said, people are going to come in at various levels. If you go to Nordstrom's, if you go to Saks, and you may not have money to go get the biggest bag, they got something in that store so that you can leave out of their store with your little item that you paid for, whatever that was. Maybe you got like some hand lotion that was $50, but you left with you a Nordstrom's bag or a Saks bag.
Yes.
And so I always would ask them, well, wait a minute. Everybody's not buying high ticket. So why would I leave all these other people behind? And some people will try to tell you that, well, if you're doing these low ticket offers, and by the way, guys, those of you who are watching who may not know what low ticket, mid, high ticket offer, high ticket, depending on who you talk to, some people say high ticket is $2K.
It's not high ticket,
real
big
people are like, high ticket is 25, 30. Like, so it varies depending on who.
100K.
Exactly. The thing that you need, my question was, or this is what I would hear high ticket people say: if you're doing a low ticket offer, you're not creating impact. And I really call BS on that, because that's not true.
That's not true at all.
Who may just be starting may have the most amazing low to mid ticket offer.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Yes.
I don't want to blaze through that.
Come on.
Let's look at somebody like, let's look at somebody like Oprah, right? She built her whole career off free content. Okay. Like you could literally turn on your local TV station and watch it. You get what I'm saying? Like I just feel like there are so many new age entrepreneurs, new age people that's just really, really, really honestly polluting the community of people who are trying to pivot and to thrive into something. And so that's why I do my own thing on my own platform. I don't need to be invited, sis. I don't need to be a part of your little program. I know my worth now. At one point, I didn't. I used to want to be validated by joining all of these programs and being around and associated with certain people. But I know my worth now, and I like to beat to the drum of my own tune. You know what I mean? Because I know me. I know who I'm supposed to serve, and I'm going to show up in a way that's going to help them, but also help me. And it's like, I think people forget that, like, if you don't want to do low ticket, cool, but have something for the people who are inspired by you. That's why books are in place. That's why, mid-tier workshops are in place. That's why we're doing this free live stream. You know what I mean? Because we're here to help people. And I think that sometimes people start, as the old folks say, smelling themselves. And they don't realize that you're leaving a good portion of these people who will eventually evolve to become your ideal customer. You're leaving them in the wind. And I don't think that's cool or fair, but hey, that's my 2 cents.
You said a whole word, because I always tell people, look, you didn't start out in college. You were in the first grade and you went all the way through a process. Yes. And your clients are going to go through a process with you. Now, can they leapfrog over some grades to get to the college level stuff? Yes. Absolutely. Remember, in school, we used to call that the gifted program. Right. If you was real extra smart, you may have been able to skip a grade or two and jump right in. And so your clients are the same way. And plus, again, like I said, no one tells you that for the most part, the statistic is that really only 10% of people are getting these high ticket offers. So if only 10% of the people are getting these high ticket offers, that proves the theory of what I always thought. Hey, what about these other 90% of the people who need to be served in some capacity? So do that. But you said something else that I want to jump on really quick. You said something about, ebooks or books. You said books. I want to talk about ebooks for just 1 second. I just feel the need to set somebody free, because I was talking to someone yesterday who had created an amazing ebook. Like, I saw it. I remember seeing the cover. It was lit. And they're like, hey, this is what I want to do next quarter. Woo, woo, woo. How can you help me? And I was like, hey, where's your book? And they said, I never released it. And I was like, it was so impactful. I remember the cover, not the title, but the cover. So that was that brand that had already jumped out. And I was like, why didn't you release it? And she said, it's just an ebook. I was like, it's not just. And in that just an ebook, you talked about how you went from, making minimal amount to 6 figures in a very short period of time. Do you know how many people that's going to set free? And in that moment, I was like, don't ever diminish what you do again. Don't say it's just an ebook. People think that because their product is not sitting on the shelf at, the big box retailers, that it doesn't have value. And the truth of the matter is, what you do and what you put out, if it's good, it has value, and someone is looking for it and waiting for you to drop that product or service. But because you are diminishing your value, you don't release it. And the best thing you can do is, like Audria said, start putting your stuff out there. We want a gazillion million people to flood our offer on the first time. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of people just hadn't spent the time marketing, branding, as you would say. They got busted photos, that kind of stuff. Like, that's not gonna work. I mean, and I remember being there too. Like, my photos weren't busted, but they just weren't really attracting
like that
my
person who got saved and now they shitting on everybody who hasn't been saved. It's the same concept. Like, I think people forget because look, if I Google some of these jokers from way back in the day and bring it to the front of the table, it'll be night and day. That's why I'm like, humble yourself, boo-boo.
Yeah. It's an evolution. It's an evolution. Guys, if you have some questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. So let's jump into, wow. Okay. So can we talk about your favorite chapter in the book? I mean, I know the whole thing.
Which one? Oh, yeah.
The whole thing is good. Like, how you marketed this was good.
Yeah,
Like all of the content is good. You know, they say people don't read, and they say if you want to hide something from somebody, put it
in
in
the
a
book.
book.
Yeah.
Y'all do not sleep on it. If you do not have this book, I should see it headed to your cart and you going to check out right now, because the information in here is not, this ain't no fluffy cake. This gonna help you get some cake, but this is real deal stuff, y'all. Like, anyway.
Yes. So I would say obviously the whole book, because it was designed for you to read it A to Z, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's how it was designed for you to read. However, if you know, my favorite chapter would have to be chapter 5. We didn't jump straight into marketing campaigns in chapter 5. We were talking about offers. I feel like the market is oversaturated with people selling the same thing. Obviously, commerce, we in America, I get it, but I also feel like the same amount of energy it takes to go get a basic product to sell to the masses, it's the same amount of time and energy it takes to go just a little bit further to make yourself stand out and to have something different that makes people excited. And that's why people enjoyed my book launch. Not because I mean, I did do some things that were revolutionary in the book industry, but it was not because it was revolutionary, but because other people didn't dare to try. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much extra reward on just going just a little bit further, doing a little bit more, pushing the button, pushing it a little bit closer, right? A lot of people are just so content with being average, right? And when I say be average, I'm talking about, if you spent another 2 weeks on it, you could have a better design. If you spent 6 months to go ahead and get that book out of your head, it would change your life we always like to say things like, oh, I ain't got time. Oh, I don't have time to do this, or I don't have the time to do that. So I would definitely say that chapter, your offers, what you offer in the marketplace, is so important, because I've seen people with horrible market kill it because they had a dope offer.
Yeah, like, again, one of those things that I learned in working with you was, hey, you got to show up. Because here's the thing, like you just said, if you're going to pursue a business and you're going to do things to drive traffic to your offer, it doesn't matter if you're offering a $5 product or a $25,000 product. The work quality has to be the same. You got to drive traffic. You got to do the things.
Yes.
So why not slow down and actually do it and make this declaration and be very intentional about how you are actually going to show up. Hence, this is why I talk to women about being bold and being confident, because I know that battle is in the mind. Like,
Yes.
if you can just wrap your brain around, I'm the S, I'm that chick. All the things that you were told not to do are the things that you really need to wrap your arms around and embrace, so that you can show up differently online, because it's a sea of people doing the same thing. And like you said, and I've seen this post so many times, there's someone who is not as good as you. They killing it because they made a decision to show up. Right. And they showed up unapologetically.
And you can't get mad at that person because they doing more than you on your best day. So I think a lot of the times when we see people try, like, that's why I'll never like talk about people who trying. Even if the try is mediocre, you doing it, And sometimes it's easy to sit on the sidelines and hate instead of congratulating, So
that's hot. Okay. Woo. All right. So you got a favorite place that you show up on social media right now? Like, there's a lot going on with video. Of course, I'm team video. It's what I love. It's that thing that I've kind of wrapped my arms around. It's my commitment to whatever version of niching down, if there's like such a thing. If there's such a thing, I struggled with that for so long. But what I figured out is I'm really good about helping women get over their fears with video, and if I can help them get over their fears with video, then they can start putting their products and services out there because they've now started to show up and attract an audience. So if you were starting over and you had to pick 2 platforms to show up on, which 2 you showing up on?
Clubhouse and Instagram.
Oh!
Clubhouse and Instagram. I feel like Facebook has become like the wild, wild west. It's not that it doesn't work, but people want to experience people in a different way, right? And Facebook is still cool, right? They got audio rooms coming, so I'm excited about that. But I do feel like Clubhouse allowed me to quantum leap by years. Like I was able to meet some really dope people. I was able to grow don't you know I got over 75,000 followers? I only been on there for 9 months. I've been on Instagram, okay, for like, I don't know, 7, 8 years. And I just now got to like 76K or something like that. Like it's just, to me, it's like Instagram took years. Clubhouse took a couple of rooms. You get what I'm saying? And like, what I love about Clubhouse, and you remember this from Periscope was easy to get discovered, right? Like you could easily just get discovered. And that's how Clubhouse is. It's like you go in there, it's a club. You're like, oh, I'm finna go up in this room. Okay, I'm about to go up in this room. And so I do know that there are a lot of petty, raggedy people on Clubhouse. I get it. However, if you are on the platform for your own business, starting your own rooms, you can really have fun with it. And I love Instagram because they are really trying their best to help the content creators by allowing us to be able to tag products, create live streams, get paid for our live streams, things that just help the content creator feel good about the content they create.
Yeah, spot on 100%. This was a question that I just posed in my Facebook community, like, hey, what are your top 2? Where do you want to double down for September? Because I really feel like September can be an amazing bridge month to where people are trying to go for the 4th quarter. Like, tie up your loose ends, get your stuff together, figure out what you're going to do for the rest of the year, and really just like double down on that. There's really some power in focusing. So I'm with you. I saw some great success on Clubhouse while I was there. I remember jumping on in probably November. Shout out to Tamaya for like getting me in. And then I just started seeing you and other people I knew. And you're right. Open rooms got clients, open rooms, Instagram grew, open rooms, paid downloads happen, like all of the things. And then it seemed like it turned a little crazy, and I was like, okay, like I'm out of here. But then Instagram took on like a new form to me, right? Yes. And I think the reason why I'm in love with Instagram now is when they made that announcement that, hey, we gonna be really rocking the video thing. Yes. I was like, I'm in. So between IGTV, stories, reels, live streams,
stories. I mean, you got highlights. A lot of people sleeping on their highlights. Like it's just crazy. And this is gonna sound so silly, Ramonica, when I say this, but I had a huge epiphany a few years ago that made me start taking Instagram more seriously. And obviously, you can have unlimited people that follow your Facebook business page. But, when we were going live back in the day, we were doing it from our personal page. So I was like, why am I limiting myself to 5,000 people when I can have hundreds of thousands of people on my live stream? Bro, you thinking small. You need to make the switch, So, yeah.
Yeah, Creator Studio is a beast, too.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about, like, what Amazon has going on right now. And I want to kind of let people know this is going to play out in a whole bunch of areas. Shout out to all of y'all in the comments. Sonia, I see you. I see y'all. I see y'all over there in the comments today. Thank y'all so much for engaging. Thank you all so much for actually being here. Hopefully you are really taking some notes, grabbing some nuggets, and putting some books in your cart.
Yes.
Okay, so this Amazon Live thing. So I hear a lot of people say, I didn't know that Amazon has.
I got one. I just need to do it.
We're gonna see you on, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So this whole thing about Amazon Live, this is like some foretelling of what's coming.
Yes.
Because what Amazon has done is, to me, it's like this is modern day what we've seen on TV from, I'm not going to call out those other shows, but y'all know what I'm talking about, where you can get your full flex pay and all of that. Yeah. Amazon, they didn't create it that type of space, but I feel like they've given us more leverage and room to create, to host authors like Audria on, and to bring on engaging content. And in addition to that, I do have items loaded in the carousel, so we're able to, talk about those, show those things in the future. So it's a little bit of a game changer. So again, I'm really encouraging those of you who have not embraced video to do it. But Audria said, hey, listen, we see this other platform, IG, and I post my Amazon stuff over on, IG. I let people know I'm a video and marketing consultant, and I'm an Amazon influencer. Those are like two things that I've really just embraced. This is what I do. Can I do some other things? Yeah, but you're going to need to come in on that, and then we'll talk about some of the other stuff. So you're going to see more of the cart shopping, e-com thing pop up, and people are using video. And
you know why this works?
Their products and services to make it happen.
Yeah, this works because people, before live streaming, we had reaction videos and unboxing videos on YouTube, right? Yep. And it went from like, oh, I'm going to pre-record this unboxing and upload it, to, hey, come and watch me unbox in real time so you can get this thing, and we're, you got the product in the carousel, but you're holding the product, I'm holding the product. This is the new age of marketing, right? And so I'm thankful to be living in a time where we don't have to struggle to market and sell our products and services. We just need to do a good job of being a good human and cultivating community,
Yeah. And I want to talk about that, because the people that come into my space, I'm reminding them that they're an influencer. I also remind them that,
I'm sorry, I just embraced it this year. I was so anti-influencer, because like when I look at some influencers, they don't have a good rep. Like the whole influencer industry, like you're buying followers, you're buying bots, you're doing all of these things. And obviously, as your influence grow, you are indeed categorized as one. So I'm starting to.
Yeah. No, but I think what happens, the reason why people don't own it, I know some of the ladies that I talk with, is they're like, well, they're like, well, I don't have a lot of followers. See, this is where social media has us brainwashed. We all had a teacher in school that influenced us to do something great in life.
Or somebody, it could have been a family member, a book. It could have been you walking down the street. Some influenced you to do something.
Yeah. And they didn't have a bunch of followers, but that word resonated in your heart and your spirit, and you held on to that. So understand that when you show up and start to build community, no one wants to start. That's the thing, because we're looking at Beyonce in her 15, 20 year and saying, well, I'm not like that, so I can't do it. Or I don't have, 100,000 followers, so I can't do it. I remind people that the goal is to make change with one.
Right.
And so if you can start with one and make change there, that one is usually going to go get others. And then you're going to continue to show it. So what happens is, and I know this happened with me in Uncloned. Hey, I'm so uncloned. I'm so geeked about this. I'm telling other people about it. I become a brand fan. And so that's where you have influence. What you did with community influenced me in the way that I think about marketing and the way that I show up. And now I'm telling other people, about this. They're seeing the change in me. Now they're making changes as well. And so it's like a domino effect. So stop thinking that because you don't have, 10K followers, or only 2 people show up to your live stream, that you have failed. The truth of the matter is, if you got a product and the 2 people that showed up who were clearly interested, if they bought, did you not win for the day?
Can we talk to that low viewership?
Come on.
I want to talk about low viewership. We're creating an asset in real time. Okay. So because we're creating an asset in real time, this video will live forever. So that means that, let's just say 5 years from now, someone becomes a super fan and they want to go and study our history. They want to go and study our work. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to go and watch all your interviews, all of the articles you read, that you wrote. They're going to read all your books. Like, for some reason, we never factor in the future fans.
Yep.
We're always thinking about the current people and like, oh, that many people didn't show up. I don't even care, because I'm going to take this video, I'm going to chop it up, and I'm going to repurpose it for other things. So I think that we have to stop looking at it in that way. And then we also have to look at it like, if we were in a room right now and we had 50 to 100 people in our face within proximity talking to us, this is the same thing. I think we get sidetracked because we look at the fact that, like, oh, well, such and such had 200 followers on her live stream, or these are real people, y'all. Like, these are not like little toothpicks chilling on your live stream. Like, these are real, legit humans with emotions who took time out their day to spend time with you. And so we have to start looking at viewership a little bit differently if we're going to truly embrace video.
Yes, because let's say we got 2 people.
Yeah.
You're building relationship.
Yes.
You're building community. And chances are, when they're sitting there consuming that content that you're putting out, that's a buying sign. Yes. They're interested. It's up to you now to make an offer, because I've seen it, and I used to do this too. I would show up, talk, share, and wasn't even putting no offers out there. It was like,
yes,
okay, you slipping, sis. Straight up slipping. So, woo. Okay. What else? All right. What would you tell someone who they're not seeing the traction, they're not seeing the sales happen? Any tips, recommendations, suggestions you would give to those people?
What would I give those people? Keep going. I know this sounds cheesy. But I mean, it's not gonna always go as planned. Yep. And I think that by the time you do get it on and popping and people do start paying attention to you, you probably won't even care anymore. And I'll be honest with you, there was a time where I actually was so infatuated with, did people care? Do people like me? Are people gonna watch my content? And now that I got all eyes on me and people checking for me and asking me to come and speak and do all the things, I don't even care anymore, because I kind of got through that phase of just being consistent and persistent with what I'm doing, right? And so I just feel like if you are not getting the traction you want, then you need to question whether or not this is something you truly are interested in. And if you are, you got to do your time, you know, not to sound like, a jail sentence, but you got to do your time. Like, no one is exempt from doing their time.
Right. I think people totally downplay the power of being a content creator, because essentially I feel like that's what I've evolved into. And because I'm so passionate about creating content that's going to help move the needle forward for someone around their mindset or someone around the various forms of video, it's like I now can put the content out. It's like, I'm finna drop this off over here on YouTube. I'm gonna drop it off over here on Amazon. I'm gonna drop it off on Instagram. And by the way, I'm finna go and create some more content and some more content and some more content, because that is what we do. And I'll share this with you all because, in the beginning, no one really taught me this. And I don't know if this is where things have just evolved to now or if it was always a thing, but there are some people that I work with, and they shared this with me. I'm going to give them a shout out. One's Jenna Faith and one is Ron Reich. They were so focused on saying, hey, look, we ain't spending all day on social media. And I was like, what, you not? And they're like, no. They say, what we do is we sit down, and I got to shout out Monty Weaver too. We sit down and we create content. And I was like, what you mean? Because I just remember the word content never even made sense to me. Like, I knew when I was live streaming, I called it live streaming, but essentially what I was doing was creating content.
Yes.
And right now people are like, I don't know what to post. I need content. I don't know what to say in my video. I need content. It's your content is your expertise, and the way that you present it, whether it's in print, video, short, long form, whatever, this is essentially what you're sitting down to do. And there's different stages and phases of this content. For me, I like to say video content because it's how I've moved people through the journey. You were one of the people that I really saw create video content in the dopest way ever. And I have a different level of appreciation for it 3-4 years post your 3-part video series. People don't understand the power of creating video content. The fact that I call it legacy content, because you create it once and it lives on and on forever. But guys, if you want to do something good, sit down. And I say this to get your behind off of social for just a minute and start creating some stuff and know why you are creating it and who you are creating it for. And it's not based on what I want, because that's what I used to do. Oh, I want to tell them about this. No. This is the thing that they need to know that's going to help them move their business like forward. So can you talk about, because they told me about content and sitting down and creating, whether it's written, they weren't all things video, but I saw you do the 3-part video series. What was your drive, your motive behind that? Because 3, 4, 5, I mean, it was 4 or 5 years ago.
That videos, I've done a lot of video series. One of the things that I love about how I create content, and this is why I teach people to do diversity in their marketing, is because I'm always thinking about the experience I want the end user to have, period. The other person that's on the other side that's going to receive me in whatever format, which format makes sense for the experience I want them to have. So if it's somebody who's new to me, I need to take you on a journey. Let's do 1, 2, 3. Video 1. All right, cool. You liking me? Cool. Come on to video 2. All right, you feeling me? All right, come on to video 3. And then I use like live streaming content to be like, look, we here, we family. We gonna have fun. Come on in. Let's have a good time. I am one of those people who do longer form content because I feel like, let's just say I'm doing a 3-part video series and it's 10 to 15 minutes per video. Well, if you add up 15 minutes times 3, that's the length of what we're doing here today. So the time it takes to foster a relationship is the same amount of time. I have found that I can foster a deep connection, a deep relationship with anyone in an hour. At the conclusion of that hour, you're going to find out 2 things. I don't like that girl, or that's my friend. You know what I mean? Like, there's no money in the middle. And if you find yourself having to consume so much of me, you're probably trying to figure out, what is it about me that you either hate or like, you know? And I'm cool with either one of them because I did my job. I fostered that relationship. And then for the people who kind of want to move along, that's what we got the books for and all of the other stuff.
Yeah, that's good. I want to share something else that really supports what you just said, because I know there are people who are listening who still are like unclear about how and why they should be using video. So I recently did a training inside of someone else's community about video marketing, and one of the ladies bought, the workbook, but then they went to the +1 where like now they're interacting with me. So they did the one-on-one service, and we were talking about when the item would be delivered because I was doing some customized video stuff for them. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I said, hey, listen, I'll get it to you Friday. And she's like, oh no, I got a birthday anniversary going on. You can just give it to me on Monday. And I was like, yeah, we talked about Friday. She's like, no, seriously. She said, I trust you.
Yes.
And that's the word y'all need to circle and highlight and put some exclamation points behind. I trust you. Mm-hmm. Video allows. So I talked for an hour in that group. So this is exactly what you just said. Spoke for an hour. She didn't know me, but she not only purchased the basic offer, but now she's adding the plus. Now, It was probably about a day before she bought the plus part. And so I said, well, what made you trust me? When she said, I trust you, she said, oh, and this is where y'all need to lean in. I Googled you, found your content, saw you on YouTube, saw your video content, went inside of some Facebook groups where we both hang out, and wanted to make sure that you weren't inside of those groups asking how to do the thing that you offer. People do that too. So she has done her research
You want to research client, okay?
Y'all gotta put your content out, and that's something that you've always spoken very highly of. You gotta put your content out, and your content needs to represent who you are, who you say you are, and you need to be able to actually back it up. I've also had people say, hey, I was about to unsubscribe from your mailing list because you be doing too much sometimes, you know, when I'm sending that kind of stuff out. But she's like, I was about to unsubscribe. She's like, but you sent a video. I clicked on the video. Again, catch the video thing that we're telling you about. She said that one video took it to another video of mine, another video of mine, another video. You got the same thing set up. So she went from unsubscribing to now she's paying thousands of dollars to work with me. Had never commented on a video, had never shown up to a live video. So guys, don't worry about who's showing up. The way that the only person you need to worry about showing up is
yourself.
If you show up and you produce content and you stay consistent to whatever it is that you're trying to do, you're then going to see the result. Because I can tell you, I have been there. I remember when I felt like I was
like the 80-20 rule. 20% of your audience are the ones who are going to share your stuff, comment or not comment, and break bread with you and do business with you.
Yeah.
Period. So
yeah. Okay, so dang, we've been going for an hour. I know we could really keep going, but we're gonna set y'all free. So Audria, tell the good people, tell us what's trending and what we really need to double down on for the rest of 2021.
Creating assets. Creating assets. We're creating all this content, but then when people fall in love, they don't have nothing to buy. So asset could be a course, it could be a book, it could be a worksheet, it could be an audio training, audio book. I don't care. Just something to sell, because we are in this commerce world where when people fall in love, they want to buy. And if you're out here creating more content than you're creating solutions, then you need to stop making content and go make your stuff. That's the trend.
Big old facts. I feel like some music should be playing right now. Like that was a kaboosh, boom, 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 boom. Like literally, I'm moving some of my content from one place over to all things Sam Carr, and I thought this was Uncloned. I was like, as I move courses and different pieces of things over, I'm gonna run a sale on it. I don't know. Some of it is being paid what you want. Some of it's gonna come out with a price, but I'm like, this is dope and Uncloned. Let's just do it like this. Yes. So yes, guys, you need the offers to go with the content that you are creating. So everybody who joined, new followers, guys, if you're not following, please hit the follow button. Please, did y'all take a picture? Because Audria, let's pose so they can take a picture and go post it on social. Okay, hold on. 1, 2, 3. I feel like that. Pose, photo shoot, pose. Pose. Y'all get your book. So many nuggets in here. We've enjoyed you all today. Audria, you are a blessing like always. Shout out to everybody in the comments over on right here, over on Amazon. Thank you for this amazing space. Those of you who are watching by Facebook, YouTube, all of that, big shout out. Go and follow Audria. You can find her on all of the social media platforms. Make sure you're following her. You can find me on all of the social media platforms. Deidre, yes, we've had a blast today. So take care, everybody.
Thank you, Veronica. This was awesome.
Indeed.